Hello everyone, welcome to soundproofguide.com. In this video, I'll be talking about resilient channel and why you should just not use it in certain situations. Now, the reason why you shouldn't use it, I'll be talking about that a little bit later in the video. But first, what is resilient channel? I'll be answering that, and also I'll be answering probably almost any questions that you have regarding resilient channel. What is it? When to use it? Does it work? How does it work? And why it might not be great for soundproofing in certain situations, and what its main purpose is regarding soundproofing. So basically, resilient channel is just a thin metal channel that is installed between the wall or ceiling joist and the drywall. So basically, this creates an air void between the two ceilings or walls. So the main purpose of resilient channel is not exactly to stop sound, which of course that helps because of the air void, but because of the decoupling, the way that you install the resilient channel, it breaks the vibration. So it is especially useful when you install it on a ceiling. So if you have people living upstairs and you want to soundproof, let's say for a basement apartment, and your ceiling is unfinished, or even if the ceiling is finished, you can just remove the drywall and install the resilient channel and then install the drywall again. And then at least the people downstairs, if the resilient channel was all installed correctly, should not hear the vibrations of the footsteps. It should reduce it by at least 90% in some cases. So that is actually a really good way to stop a lot of the sound from coming down one level, because most of that sound is usually footsteps and animals and kids running. So it's basically, you want to stop the vibrational sound, and that is what resilient channel is good for. If you already have your wall installed, you just rip the drywall off, install the resilient channel, and then install another layer of drywall. And that is how it is installed. Now, the biggest mistake that people do is that they don't install the resilient channel correctly. Now, resilient channel is very simple to install. You can do it as a DIY job, but the measurements has to be good, and the screw that you screw the channel and the drywall has to be the correct length, because if it is not, it will make the entire project completely useless and it will just not work. So I'll explain that a little bit ahead. I'll answer a lot of your questions, however, on resilient channel, because I do get a lot of questions in the comment sections, and that's what I'm going to go through in this video. So at least after this video is done, you should know how to install resilient channel and if it is the right course of action for you regarding your soundproofing project.
Just a quick pause. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing to our channel. And also feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear your feedback and also your questions that I would do my very best to answer. Thank you.
So the first thing that you have to notice if you have an unfinished ceiling is that your electrical boxes for all of your lights has to be lowered down. The reason for this is because the resilient channel is going to create this air void of where the drywall would be. So the drywall would be where the resilient channel now is. And now the drywall will be hung on the resilient channel. So that means that the electrical boxes of the lights has to come down. So if you're lucky enough to have an adjustable pot light box, then you can bring it down you bring it down 1/2 inch for the resilient channel, and then depending on if your drywall is 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch, that will determine how much more you bring it down. Now, if you put another layer of drywall over top of that first layer of drywall, you'll have to bring it down another 5/8 inch, just so everything is flush when the job is done. So the first thing that you do is you add your first piece of resilient channel, and you want to start on the outside wall first. And they recommend not starting further than 6 inches from the outside wall. However, I've never seen anybody bring it that far off. I usually leave between 1/2 inch and 1 inch between the outside wall and the first strip of resilient channel. So just make sure that the flange of the resilient channel is away from your wall, and then the next piece will be the opposite. So the maximum spacing for resilient channel is 24 inches on center with 5/8 inch drywall and 16 inch on center with 1/2 inch drywall. So I would always recommend 5/8 inch drywall. So 24 inches off center with 5/8 inch drywall, you should be good to go. Usually when you buy a resilient channel, the screws comes with it, or you can just ask the person at the hardware store what type of screws you need for the resilient channel to attach them. Now, when you attach a resilient channel onto the ceiling joist or the wall, now usually the manufacturers recommend a 3/8 panhead screw and to have it 1.25 inches long. Now, the biggest mistake that people make when installing resilient channel is that they install the drywall with a screw that is just too long, because you have to make sure that the screw goes through the drywall and through the resilient channel, and that's it. Because the thing is, if the screw keeps going and it goes right into the ceiling joist, then you've completely defeated the purpose of decoupling the drywall and the ceiling joist. So usually when people do it the DIY way, sometimes I get comments saying that I install resilient channel and it did not work whatsoever. People are walking upstairs and I can still hear the footsteps. Well, that shouldn't be. If the resilient channel was installed correctly, it would completely eliminate that up to 90%. So almost completely eliminate the vibrational sound, at least, of the footsteps. So basically, if everything is installed the right way, the only vibration that will come down is where the screw of the resilient channel goes right into the ceiling joist or the wall joist. And all of that vibration will dissipate before it reaches the drywall, because of the holes in the resilient channel and the waves in the resilient channel. And that is basically what dissipates the vibrational sound. So one mistake that sometimes people do with the resilient channel when installing it on the wall is with the baseboards. So sometimes when contractors are installing the drywall and the baseboard, they install a wooden block to reinforce the bottom edge of the drywall. So if you notice that this is done, the drywall is now locked to the studs and the resilient channel won't be as effective, because if everything is locked, then you don't really have a decoupling factor anymore. Another mistake that some people might make in installing a resilient channel is to place the channel in between 2 layers of drywall. Now, I've seen some people mention this, and yeah, no, the resilient channel should be the first layer, then the drywall, and then another layer of drywall if you're going to want to add 2 layers of drywall. So basically the resilient channel should be on the wall or ceiling joist and not over top a layer of drywall, because the thing is, if it is attached to the drywall directly, then you do have an air void which will do a little bit of soundproofing, but it defeats the purpose of the vibrational noise coming down, because now everything is connected. Now, one of the questions that I sometimes have is, what is the difference between resilient channel and hat channel? Well, if you have both in front of you, it's pretty easy to notice the difference. The hat channel is solid while the resilient channel has holes in them. They basically work about the same way, and the installation process is very similar. Now, the hat channel will allow a lot more mass to be added onto it. Another one is, how much STC does a resilient channel have? So typically it'll add about 3 to 5 STC. And That's why when we add the resilient channel, we always recommend to have more soundproofing elements added to either the wall or ceiling. Another question is sound isolation clips. What is the difference between that and resilient channel? What differences do they both bring to the table in terms of soundproofing? Well, I have a full video about sound isolation clips and resilient channel, and if you want to know more, go watch that video. So one of the questions that I am often asked is, are resilient channel worth it? Well, of course it's worth it because it is an inexpensive way to soundproof a ceiling, especially the basement apartments, because if you're the ones living upstairs and you have somebody renting in the basement, you don't always want to feel like you have to walk on your tippy toes, and you don't want to make too much noise. So that is a lot of the reasons why people install the resilient channel for basement apartments. So it is worth it, yes. One thing, it's relatively inexpensive for the amount of noise transmission dampening that it creates. And also, it's relatively easy to install, and you just have to make sure that it's installed correctly. And then, once it's installed correctly, yes, it is certainly worth it. Feel free to take a look at many of our other YouTube videos and also some of our articles on our website, soundproofguide.com. Don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed this video, and also consider subscribing to our channel if you like our content. Also, feel free to leave us a comment below if you have any soundproofing questions of your own. We will certainly try our very best to help you. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video or any other videos in our channel. Thank you very much.